The Financial Services Committee meets today to consider legislation that will create a truly sustainable housing finance system for the American people. Protecting American Taxpayer and Homeowners Act is the product of 12 hearings since January, during which our committee heard from more than 50 witnesses. The PATH Act was announced and circulated to members almost 2 weeks ago. I thank members for their input and suggestions. I particularly want to express my gratitude to the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Garrett, the lead sponsor, as well as the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Nagelbauer, and the gentlelady from West Virginia, Ms. Capito, for their outstanding leadership in crafting this proposal. It's been nearly 5 years since the financial crisis, which was caused in large part by federal policies that incented, mandated, browbeated financial institutions to loan money to people to buy homes they ultimately could not afford. In a phrase, an unsustainable housing finance system. It's been 3 years since the Dodd-Frank Act failed to do anything about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and their record taxpayer-funded bailout. It's time to move forward with this plan and give Americans the housing finance system that is worthy of them. First, they need a plan that's designed for homeowners, current and would-be, so every American who works hard and plays by the rules can have opportunities and choices to buy homes they can afford to keep. Secondly, a plan that's designed for hard-working taxpayers so they never again have to bail out corrupt financial government enterprises like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, whose top executives engaged in accounting shenanigans to trigger huge bonuses for themselves. And America needs a housing policy that is sustainable over time, not one that causes endless boom-bust cycles in real estate that harm our economy and where hard-working American families see both their homes and their savings drop precipitously in value. The PATH Act offers the path towards a better system. First, it ends the costly bailout of Fannie and Freddie and permanently moves us from a system where the fate of our economy depends upon their success or failure. Second, the PATH Act reforms the FHA, which is so overextended, is projected to need its own taxpayer-funded bailout of nearly $1 billion. Over time, FHA has experienced severe mission creep. Instead of helping those it was intended for today, our FHA insures mortgages for millionaires and homes valued as high as $729,000, far beyond the reach of those truly earning low and moderate income. Our plan would return FHA to its original mission of helping first-time homebuyers and low and moderate income families. The PATH Act also tears down barriers to private capital, frees Americans from a government-dominated system that puts Washington elites in charge of deciding who can buy a home. The PATH Act gets government out of the way and helps increase competition, enhances transparency, and gives consumers more freedom to choose the mortgage that's right for them. Now, I've heard my Democrat colleagues not share my enthusiasm for this particular plan. Some claim it would end the ability of the federal government to respond in a time of crisis or a credit crunch. But in the PATH Act, the FHA is specifically given counter-cyclical powers, and the Fed clearly still retains their 13(3) emergency powers. Some would claim that the PATH Act eliminates the 30-year fixed mortgage. Actually, the 30-year fixed exists today without a government guarantee, and the PATH Act won't change that. Others claim that the PATH Act would completely end the government guarantee in housing, yet the FHA, the federal home loan banks, the VA, and rural housing programs that exist today will continue to exist with the PATH Act. Now, I've heard my friend and ranking member claim that your ideas were not taken into account. With all due respect, I do not recall any that were offered. A couple of members on your side of the aisle have indeed put forward ideas, worthy ones, and they are to be complimented. But if you plan to offer no alternative, then you are left protecting the status quo. The status quo where we have heard testimony can make home ownership twice as difficult and twice as expensive. If you choose to offer a substitute, and I hope that you do, then certainly I look forward to putting it under the same scrutiny that your side will put the PATH Act. Ultimately, the PATH Act will change a system where government controls 90% of the housing finance market, where Washington elites decide who can qualify for a mortgage and where hardworking taxpayers who struggle to pay their own mortgages are forced to pay for somebody else's while they are continually on the hook for $5 trillion in mortgage guarantees. Americans deserve better. They deserve a housing finance system that is sustainable and built to last. The PATH Act is the path forward. Chair now recognizes